everyone listening over at Stock Talk. Really glad you could join us.
Absolutely.
If you find this deep dive helpful, please do subscribe, like, maybe share it, and definitely drop a comment on the main Stock Talk feed. We love hearing from you.
Yeah, definitely helps us know what you're interested in.
Okay, so let's get straight into it. The markets saw a bit of a dip yesterday. S&P 500, Dow, NASDAQ, all down slightly.
And futures are looking a little soft today, too, maybe continuing that trend.
Right. So our plan today is to really break down the key business and market stories hitting the wires.
We've pulled from, the usual suspects, CNBC, New York Times, Reuters, The Verge, Wall Street Journal, CNN, BBC, AP, trying to get you the essentials.
Let's start with AI. It's always moving fast. Google's launched this AI mode.
Yeah, integrating chatbot features right into search. It's quite a change, potentially, in how we, find information online.
Seems fundamental. And they've got a new AI model, too, plus this premium developer suite.
That's right, the AI Ultra Suite. It's $250 a month.
Wow, that price tag says a lot about how valuable they think it is.
It does, and we're seeing real-world application already. Volvo's getting early access to Google's AI software for vehicles.
Okay, so it's moving beyond just like digital tools and into actual cars. Interesting.
Definitely. Think autonomous driving, in-car experience, all that.
Now, shifting gears. Let's look at retail. Kind of a tale of two companies here. Target missed its Q1 forecasts.
Yeah, revenue and comparable sales were off. And they cut their earnings guidance pretty significantly down to $7 to $9 per share for the year.
Ouch. And the market noticed, right? Shares dropped pre-market.
Over 3% down, yeah, which contrasts with TJX, the parent company of TJ Maxx and Marshalls.
What happened there?
They actually beat sales expectations. Came in at $13.11 billion.
So good news for them.
Well, yes, but interestingly, their shares also dipped pre-market about 2%, even though they reaffirmed their outlook.
Huh. So good results didn't guarantee a stock pop? Maybe broader worries?
Could be. Or maybe just profit-taking, or something specific about their outlook investors didn't love. It shows how complex sentiment is right now.
Definitely. Okay, let's move to healthcare and finance. UnitedHealth took a hit.
A big one. Stock fell 7%. There are reports about a scandal involving payments to nursing homes.
Payments for what?
Allegedly to limit transfers to hospitals. So serious questions about practices and patient care.
Yeah, that sounds serious. And it's having financial ripples.
Clearly, investors are worried. And adding to that, HSBC downgraded the stock to $270.
Oof. Not good news for UNH holders. Now, on the finance side, Capital One.
They reached a settlement, $425 million.
What was that about?
Deceptive practices related to savings accounts. And a big chunk, $300 million, is actually going back to depositors.
Okay, so significant consumer restitution there. Shows the regulators are watching.
Absolutely. Costly mistake for Capital One.
Let's talk big tech infrastructure. This OpenAI data center investment sounds massive.
It really is. Blue Owl Capital and Crusoe putting in $11.6 billion for a facility in Texas for OpenAI.
And the scale? It's going to house, what, 50,000 Nvidia chips?
Up to 50,000, yeah. Just shows the incredible amount of compute power needed for advanced AI.
And Nvidia's right at the center of it all, supplying those chips.
Exactly. They're foundational to this whole AI build-out. Huge demand.
Okay, corporate strategy time. Medtronic is making a move.
They're planning to spin off their diabetes business. It's about a $2.5 billion unit.
Why do that?
They say it's to sharpen focus on their main areas, cardiovascular and surgical devices. Though they did mention the diabetes part has been growing strongly, too.
Interesting. So maybe unlocking value by separating them.
But that's often the idea. Allows each business to focus, maybe attract different investors.
And Levi's is also restructuring in a way, selling off Dockers.
That's right. Sold to authentic brands for $311 million, potentially up to $391 million.
And that fits with their focus on?
Their core Levi's brand, and especially their direct-to-consumer or DTC strategy, selling Dockers lets them pour more resources into Levi's itself.
Makes sense. Okay, pricing. Home Depot. What's their plan with tariffs still being a factor?
They're aiming to keep prices stable, which consumers will appreciate, I imagine.
Except there's a catch.
Yeah, they hinted they might have to cut back on the variety of items offered. It's a trade-off.
And how are their sales looking?
Modest growth.
Yeah.
U.S. same-store sales were up just 0.2% last quarter. So it's a balancing act for them. Price versus profit versus selection.
Right. Now, a potentially controversial one, Live Nation's board.
They've added Richard Grinnell, the former U.S. ambassador.
And this is happening while Live Nation is under DOJ scrutiny.
Exactly. Antitrust concerns, even potential criminal probes related to market dominance.
Sure.
So adding a politically connected figure to the board at this time, it's definitely noteworthy.
Something to watch. Okay, app stores, Fortnite's back.
After 5 years, yeah.
Yeah.
It's set to return to Apple's App Store.
That feels like a win for Epic Games, doesn't it, in their fight over commissions?
It certainly seems like a step. Maybe not a full resolution of the core issues, but Fortnite being back is significant. Could signal a bit of a thaw.
Let's talk money. Big money. Tesla's CFO.
Vaibhav Taneja. His 2024 compensation package was reportedly $139 million.
$139 million for a CFO.
Yep. Potentially a record.
Yeah.
It definitely gets people talking about executive pay.
I'll bet. Now, IPOs, anything major happening?
Yes, CATL, the Chinese EV battery giant, had a huge debut in Hong Kong.
How huge.
Raised $4.6 billion,
Right.
and the stock surged up to 18% on day one. It's the biggest global IPO so far in 2025.
Wow. Shows the massive investor interest in EV batteries, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Battery tech is critical, and CATL is a leader. Big validation for them.
Sticking with EVs, Tesla's got robotaxi plans.
Trial plans, yeah. In Austin. Supposed to start by the end of June.
Ambitious. And Musk is staying on as CEO.
He committed to at least 5 more years. And interestingly, they confirmed they'll keep using chips from both Nvidia and AMD.
Okay, so relying on multiple suppliers there. What about other EV players? Xpeng Kang.
Good news for them. Shares surged over 6%.
Why the jump?
Strong Q2 delivery projections. They're expecting to deliver up to 108,000 vehicles. That's a big jump.
That is quite an increase. Shows strong demand.
Seems so. And one more auto note. Ford and Nissan are teaming up.
How so?
They're planning to share Ford's EV battery plant in Kentucky. Seems like a move to cut costs.
Especially with EV adoption maybe a bit slower than some hoped.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sharing that massive infrastructure investment makes sense in the current climate.
Okay, regulatory actions next. Spain versus Airbnb.
Spain's ordered Airbnb to pull, get this, 66,000 listings.
66,000. Why?
Issues with illegal tourist rentals. Airbnb says they'll fight it legally.
That's a huge number. Highlights that ongoing tension between platforms and cities.
For sure. Big impact on housing and communities in some places.
And some crime news involving Amazon.
Yeah, the DOJ indicted an Armenian gang, allegedly stole $83 million in Amazon cargo by impersonating truckers. Pretty bold stuff.
Wow. And separate from that, Amazon's facing another charge.
A $1.1 billion charge related to refunds. Details are a bit sparse, but it's another significant financial hit.
Okay, let's look at some broader economic indicators. Mortgage rates.
They're up. The average 30-year rate hit 6.92%, highest since February.
And that's impacting demand.
Seems so. Mortgage demand fell 5.1% last week. Higher rates make buying homes tougher.
Makes sense. What about oil prices?
Ticking up. Both Brent and WTI rose over 1%.
Reason.
Geopolitics mainly. Heightened tensions around potential Israeli action against Iran's nuclear sites. Markets always get nervous about potential supply disruptions.
Right. And inflation watch. UK.
Jumped to 3.5% in April. That's the highest since January 2024, driven by energy, taxes, utilities. More pressure on households there.
Okay. And finally, trade. Japan's exports.
Growth slowed down in April, only 2% year over year. And notably, shipments to the U.S. actually declined 1.8%.
Any reason given for the U.S. drop?
Partly attributed to the new U.S. tariffs on things like cars and steel, shows those trade policies having a direct effect.
Okay, wow. A lot happening. Before we wrap up, maybe a quick earnings recap, just the highlights.
Sure. We mentioned TJX revenue up, EPS down slightly. Lowe's was interesting, revenue down, but EPS actually increased.
How'd the tech and healthcare names do?
Palo Alto Networks, Medtronic, Baidu, Keysight all saw growth in both revenue and EPS.
They took the target, as we discussed.
Yeah, declines in both revenue and EPS. Just underlines that top-line growth doesn't always equal bottom-line profit. Lots of factors at play.
Absolutely. Well, that really covers a huge amount of ground today. AI advancements, shifting retail, global economics, corporate moves.
It's a really complex picture out there. Technology, consumer behavior, geopolitics, regulations, it's all interconnected.
So, thinking about everything we just discussed, the AI surge, those mixed signals from consumers via retail earnings, the global economic pressures, all of it. What single trend do you think might have the biggest impact on the market over the next few months? Something for our listeners to chew on.
That is the question, isn't it? A lot to weigh up as we head into the second half of the year.
Indeed. Okay, everyone, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time.